Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. John, thanks for the intro. I love you, man. And when I say that, I mean it in the most awkward way possible. Awesome. All right, so LA Auto Show. I'm currently in Portland, Maine, and I moved there about 2 years ago, but LA is my home, and it's always great to come back. I feel like the West Coast is the best coast, so really excited for today and for this trip. We've got a lot of great vehicles and toys to explore later today. I think I saw a tank coming in with full artillery, so definitely check that out if you haven't yet. But want to talk about AdMedia and how we work with the automotive landscape. So to set the stage, I do want to plug one stat here, actually one prediction. This is from Neil deGrasse Tyson, superstar astrophysicist. He made a claim less than a year ago that similar to the horse-drawn carriages being replaced by vehicles, by mid this century, 2050, autonomous driving vehicles will replace all cars on the road. So I want to take a quick poll here. Everyone here is in the auto industry. Let's say in the next 27 years, how many agree with Neil deGrasse Tyson and say that it is possible, can, and potentially will happen? Raise your hands. Anybody have their hand up? Sorry, there's lights. There's one. There's a bunch. Okay, cool. But the minority, correct? Cool. Yeah, it's a very bold statement. I think looking at the data and unpacking this should shed some light into what we may see over the next 25 years. So there are currently 297 million in the US registered vehicles. Of those, 1,400 are autonomous self-driving vehicles. So that's about 1,000%. It's minuscule, but we know that companies like Google and Waymo have spent the last 20 years logging over 2 billion simulated and live autonomous driving vehicle miles. And that's a lot of data that they have to leverage to improve and iterate on the products and get it into market. We're seeing that here in LA. We're seeing it in San Francisco. We're seeing it in Austin, Texas. And the geo DMAs continue to broaden with regard to those autonomous driving vehicles. The first piece of it is ride sharing. The second tier is really commercial trucking. So those are the two areas where autonomous driving vehicles will likely penetrate and proliferate within the industry as a whole, and then moving into the consumer side. So it's not entirely impossible. However, it seems like a very aggressive prediction. Let's see what time will tell. I think we'll all be around at 2050, so we will see how this prediction nets out. Okay, another quick question. Has anybody here taken an autonomous self-driving vehicle? Yes, one. Follow-up question, what was your experience like? Works perfect. Smooth. Were you working while it was driving? There you go. That's one huge benefit. Cool. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of things happening. We love this industry because it's continuously evolving, and we've got generative language AI, which is either distracting or disrupting the industry. To move on, I want to talk through some additional automotive landscape updates for the year. So, post-pandemic, we've seen the consumer buying journey kind of truncate in terms of timeline. It used to be pre-pandemic around 3 to 6 months for consideration, research, going and test driving at dealerships, tier 3, and then ultimately purchasing a vehicle. That extended to about 9 to 12 months during COVID and the pandemic. However, post-pandemic, we're seeing it kind of truncate again, at least on the data that we have on the AdMedia side. On top of that, we're seeing that there is more of a collaborative effort being made across OEMs and dealerships, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They understand that there's that symbiotic nature and that air cover provided by national tier one and the OEMs has that trickle-down effect to the regional and individual dealerships. We work with quite a few of these OEMs and tier two regional dealership groups, such as Toyota. And it's important to have that sort of holistic approach to marketing. So we're seeing incentives coming down through the hood, on the hood in dealerships, on top of the upper funnel branding initiatives that are taking place. Top of that, there's been a continued increase in the cost of media as it pertains to mid to lower funnel CPC-based channels. So looking at Google AdWords, for example, over the last 3 years, you can see 2021, 2022, and 2023 projected a significant year-over-year lift in CPCs. That's blended across brand, non-brand, or segment, and conquest. With AdMedia, we actually have a marketplace that's not as saturated. We also have incremental reach in the form of our owned and operated properties, and we actually see cost of media about 25% that of the Google averages that you guys are seeing here. So about 4 clicks to 1. A lot of value with regard to that, and it also allows for expansion and incremental reach outside of the engines. Conquest is still very heavy in the automotive landscape. Super Bowl's coming up, and there is going to be a lot of effort put into supplementing those $1 million buys during the Super Bowl event. And then lastly, with recalls, we did see quite a lot of recalls, 32 million vehicles impacted across 796 different recalls, quite significant. Despite all of this, the year-over-year increase projected for automotive spending in the marketing landscape for 2023 is $19 billion. That's about 11% year-over-year lift. So very encouraging to see that. Okay. So we talked about recalls. The next big recall, and I know everybody here has got cookies on their tables, right? So huge props to Nativo for giving us some cookie treats here. We expect to see Google deprecate third-party cookies on Chrome. This is still a thing. I think over the last 3 years, it's continued to be top of mind. As of the latest updates, it looks like second half of 2024. So want to call that out. It's really going to disrupt the industry. With us at AdMedia, we do have owned and operated networks and properties that allow us to utilize first-party data. So that will offset a lot of that concern from an audience targeting component when it does roll out. All right, so we tend to outperform the engines, specifically on search, by about a median of 44%. A lot of that ties into the cost effectiveness of our traffic, the incremental reach, and the fact that we have a really strong machine learning algorithm that does bid optimization near real time, as well as a fully managed service with our account management team that provides that human oversight to analyze and surface trends and insights from big data to help tactical day-to-day optimization. All of that combined really allows us to outperform the engines, and it is prudent and pragmatic, we feel, to diversify your investment across those legacy engines once you hit that tipping point of diminishing returns. Let's see, we also have the third-party integration capabilities, so we can integrate with LiveRamp, we can do lookalike audiences based off of first-party data from our client partners as well. Okay, so we have a lot of inventory and supply that is category endemic. You can see some examples here with CarBuzz. And then we also have owned and operated sites like localpages.com and leisure.com. Some of our existing client partners in the landscape include Nissan, I mentioned Toyota, Motor Trend, etc. So autos is an area that we provide a lot of value in. So if anybody here is looking to expand their digital marketing efforts, mid to lower funnel, we'd love to connect and chat with you guys. Okay, some examples of ad formats. This is pretty standard. This is localpages.com, one of our owned and operated sites. You do a search for Nissan, similar to what you would expect on a Google SERP. You'll see sponsored ads powered by AdMedia. You'll see Nissan at the top there. You'll see Motor Trend below. These are people that are bidding, obviously, on that query Nissan. And below that, you'll have the local organic listings in the directory. Contextual, this is something that we've spent a lot of time in R&D on over the last couple years, and we have a lot of cross-functional signals that ingest into the serving logic. So based off of image, content, the bidded keywords, the creative, and the content on both the advertiser and publisher page, we can make a very strong mapping of an ad that shows up to a related article or content. In this case, it's Porsche. So you can see that example there. Do you want to highlight a quick study with one of our client partners? So this is a Tier 1 auto case study. We were tasked with focusing on segment, non-brand, as well as conquesting efforts. And based off of their target goal, which is a cost per high value action or engagement on site, we really knocked it out of the park. So you can see the percentage increases based off of the baseline goal that was in place. And we'd love to emulate the success on the Tier 1 front, Tier 2, and all the way down to Tier 3 with other OEMs and folks in this room. So those are the broad strokes. I do want to mention that I have a couple teammates here. Michelle McEwen is right there. Thanks for raising your hand. And Noreen Najarian is there as well. Stop by our booth. We'd love to chat with you. We've got some cool tchotchkes out there as well. So in closing, I just want to say, the road to success, it's always under construction. And sometimes the best road are the ones that we make ourselves. So long and winding roads ahead, as always. Adventure awaits, and we really look forward to taking that adventure with you. So thank you very much, and I will give it back to John.